Intermittent fasting today on the Do Hard Things Today podcast. Episode 94 of the Do Hard Things Today podcast. We are going to revisit intermittent fasting because I have been doing this for the last couple of weeks, have seen some results already and seen some things, not just talking about the scale, but some other things, and we're going to do a couple of these because this has become a very, I would use the word trendy thing in the health community right now. But just as a case study, we're going to do a couple of these, do one about every 6 weeks to talk about some results and some other things going on, because there's a couple of other people I know that are doing this, and we'll have them on as well. But we wanted to cover intermittent fasting and specifically a case study of me.
I see this everywhere. I've got a buddy who is a strength coach at a local high school, and he talks about it some. I see it in, you see it in everything you read. You see it a lot of places. I guess obviously it's working for you if you're willing to talk about it. So tell us exactly what goes into it, what it is, how you got into it, how you decided it's something you want to do. Give us a little brief rundown.
Well, Jed, about a year and a half ago, somebody brought this up to me, and it's just started to kind of hit I listen to a lot of other podcasts and kind of, I just listen to a lot of kind of people on that, what you would call the cutting edge of some of the things that maybe you don't find in hospitals. And there started to be a trend of people talking about intermittent fasting. Not just, most people think of it for intermittent fasting could help with weight loss, but they started talking about the real health benefits, longevity, anti-aging properties, those kind of things. And so I fiddled around with it a year and a half ago or so, and I just for whatever reason didn't choose that as a lifestyle at the time. And as I started listening to more and more podcasts and people talking about it, and then some other people that I know personally that have experimented with it and actually incorporated it into a long-term lifestyle, I just made the decision that I was going to really try to discipline myself and do this and see what happens. It's kind of one of those deals where you just, all right, I'm going to try this and I'm going to see what happens, and I'm going to document what's going on holistically with myself.
I know there are a couple of different avenues you can go. Are you doing days? Are you doing windows? How are you approaching it?
I do a window. And Jed, what's the first meal of the day called?
Breakfast.
Okay. That's a compound word. What are the two words?
You're breaking the fast.
You're breaking the fast. And so everybody, if you're listening to this podcast, every single one of you is in some kind of an intermittent fast. Now, you may not be in a long one, but when you go to sleep, you're not eating and you don't eat. So that whole time when you wake up in the morning, the reason breakfast is called what it is because you're breaking a fast. There's a couple of different ways. Some people they will go a whole 24 hours without eating. For most people, it's going to be a eating window, they call it. Seems to be the most popular one is 16-8. And what that means is you eat all of your calories in an 8-hour period. So whatever that looks like. Some people, they start in the morning and eat, and then they go 8 hours. For whatever reason, most people tend to skip breakfast. They tend to go to sleep. They sleep all night. They wake up in the morning. They don't eat breakfast, and then they will move up and maybe start eating at lunchtime at 12, and they'll go 12 to 8. And so they're eating lunch. They eat whatever they eat in the middle of the day, and then they'll eat dinner. I have a smaller window that I'm doing, and it's a 6-hour window that I am using, and I base that off of, I go from 2 to 8, and so I'll spend 18 hours of the day in a fast. And when I say fast, I'll take in water, black coffee, unsweet tea. Those are the things that I drink. You can't take in calories,
right?
And so I'll water, black coffee, and unsweet tea, and then I will, for that 6-hour period, that's when I will eat, and that allows me to I'll usually eat like a late lunch at like 2 o'clock. That's the first food I'll take in. And then it allows me to eat dinner with the family. And then, like I said, 8 o'clock, that window is cut off again. And I won't eat anything until the next day at 2 o'clock.
Okay, there's a bunch of questions. First question is why? I know because it works. I know there are motivations behind it, but why this plan? What appeals to you?
Yeah, and I'm no scientist. I'm no doctor. So I would say if you're going to try anything like this, any kind of program out there, I would say you want to consult your physician and make sure there's no underlying things that you need to deal with. So there's the disclaimer. So the why is there's several reasons why. There are people that that will say that this has a lot of anti-aging benefits. There are people that will say that this gives you longevity and other things. Here's what I have experienced so far. Again, I'm about 3 weeks into this. Is I have experienced some weight loss, and when I started this to get to my ideal weight, I have a half Ironman triathlon that I'm doing in May. And I wanted to get down to the ideal weight that I wanted to be at. And I felt like I needed to lose about 25 pounds to be at that ideal weight. And so in this 3 week period, I've lost about 10 pounds and have not, like, I'm not on low carb. I eat generally clean during that window. I don't eat a bunch of junk and that kind of thing. But I have noticed that. So the theory behind it is your stomach and your body needs time to not be digesting food. With the way we live now, you think about the way we used to live. When we were hunter gatherers, you would go out and kill something, and you would eat it, and then you'd go a while without eating again.
Right, until you killed something else, probably.
And when you say a while, we're not talking about a couple of hours, and then what do we say? Man, I'm starving.
Right, run to the fridge.
Yeah, run to the fridge. And we're talking, it might be a day or two before you eat again. We're gathering all our food. We're hunting our food, those kind of things. Well, all that changed. And now we pretty much eat from the time we wake up till the time we go to sleep.
Right.
And so our stomach is always digesting food, always. So this gives your stomach time to digest that food, get it out, and then your stomach, what they call it, rest, and you're not digesting food. A couple of other things happen, interesting things happen, and we will do, when we get a little bit further down the road of this case study, we will do a podcast and we will cover some, and we're actually going to have a couple of experts on this come in to talk about what happens with longer fast. There's something called autophagy, which is a fancy word, which basically the gist of it is we've got broken cells inside of us that are all over inside of our body. And as you get out of that mode where your stomach is resting, you're not digesting food, your body actually starts regenerating itself, and it starts eating up those broken cells, which is almost just like a, I don't know, tune up or whatever, but it's getting rid of these old broken cells, which helps you, does a lot of things. It's supposed to help your skin. It just helps a lot of things, and supposedly has some disease fighting benefits, those kind of things. A lot of this stuff is on the cutting edge of science. So I'm not making claims here. I'm just saying what people will tell you that have studied this. They will tell you the reason behind it. So it's a lot of people jump into it to thinking this is a good way to lose weight. That is a benefit of it, but there's a lot of other benefits as well.
I would imagine we talked about it in another podcast with Coach Malone. Does it help in avenues as far as maybe getting you ready, maybe reducing some inflammation, helping with your joints, things like that? I mean, weight loss does, but does the fasting help that as well?
Oh, 1,000%, Jed. It has. You would be shocked at the difference that I have felt in and just the way my body feels, my joints, what you just said, the inflammation. When your joints are hurting and when you're just aching, that's caused by inflammation in your body. This has greatly reduced that. And I train and I'll be 50 in May, but I run, I ride my bike, I swim, I lift weights, do those kind of things. And I have seen a huge difference in the inflammation, soreness, those other things, which are all claims that people that have studied this say happen. And that's why I wanted to, again, do a case study of me walking through this for a extended, 6-month period of time to see what really happens. And do I see these things? And I'm 3 weeks in and I am seeing those things. I am seeing seems like my inflammation is down in my body.
So it kind of defies conventional logic too. Everybody says, "Hey, you got to eat something before you go to the gym. You got to fuel that workout." But you can train while fasting, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and you've got your body has stored up. I mean, inside of your body, you have tens of thousands of calories of stored up fat inside your body, and your body can be trained to be able to use those things as fuel. And there are some exceptions when you're redlining it, and if you're sprinting or if you're doing super high intensity work, where you're going to want to be fueled for that. But for the most part, no, you can do these things, and your body has stored up fuel. The problem is we have trained our bodies to be where we're just constantly taking in food, especially highly processed, sugary foods. And we just take it in. And then our body gets used to, I'm just burning all of this sugar and carbohydrates that's coming into my body. And our body forgets how to burn fat for fuel, which is what our bodies really were made to do and what they used to do.
What are some of the other benefits? Are you sleeping better? Does it affect that at all?
Yeah, it absolutely does. Like I said, at 8 o'clock, that is the end of my window. Usually I'm done by 7:30 or so. And, if I'm asleep by 11 or even 10:30, that gives 3 hours since my last meal for most people. And like I used to be, we would eat dinner, and then usually you might be snacking on something a little bit later or taking something right before you go to sleep. And then your body is having to digest food as you're sleeping. And I've seen I've got a sleep tracker on my phone, and I'm on my watch. And I'm getting more deep sleep now. And I wake up, and the most surprising thing, Jed, is when I first started doing this, first couple of days, when I would get about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning, when I was getting up to that like 15-hour mark, I would have some hunger, and I would, well, man, I really want to get something to eat. That has gone away. And I find myself more and more now, when that 2 o'clock window is coming, of having to kind of force myself to, hey, it's time to eat. You need to eat. You need to eat something. So my body has been adapting to that, and I don't know why that is. I don't know. Like I said, I'm documenting all these things to be able to share. But like right now, we're recording this podcast, and it is lunchtime. It's 12 o'clock, and so it's been 16 hours since I've had any calories in my body, and I don't feel one bit hungry at all. And this morning I've had water and black coffee.
Yeah. Wow. So as we go along, you're going to be telling us more about this, but at this point, is it something you do recommend?
Yeah. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to do. I can tell you my experience. And I would say there are some, there are some circumstances where you're going to want to check with your doctor and make sure this is something, especially if you have any kind of underlying conditions. But I would encourage you to, if none of that is going on, to give this a try. And then, you don't have to do the 18-6. You don't have to. You can start it off. If you want to do this, the 16-8, that's something that you can do. That's not quite as extreme. And even if you wanted to start maybe 14-10, just to get it started, that can really help you. Yeah, and like I said, this is a case study. We're going to bring you one of these about once a month, just updating you on the progress, what's happening, what's good, what's bad, and then we will. Hopefully, we're going to have some of the experts on to talk about a little bit longer fast and these other things and what it actually does to your body. So, yeah, intermittent fasting. We wanted to bring this to you, and maybe it's something that you want to try. You can always reach out to us. Find us on Facebook, the Do Hard Things Today page. You can email at kevin@dohardthingstoday.com if you have any questions. I can send you a little bit more information about exactly how I'm doing this. But just like everything else with the fasting, with your nutrition, with your workouts, with your life, with everything we do, you'll do the hard things today. Tomorrow will take care of itself.